Silence was mistaken for weakness, but control is found in patience and revenge in truth.
He was the kind of man you wouldn't notice in a crowd. Never loud, never dramatic, and certainly never weak, though his silence was often mistaken for softness. He built his life brick by brick, with discipline and patience as his tools. For him, loyalty wasn't just a word. It was the bedrock of his marriage, the strongest foundation anything could stand on. He trusted his wife completely. When whispers of doubt from others reached his ears, he defended her without a second thought. He chose to ignore the subtle, almost invisible changes that began to creep into their life together. She, on the other hand, was starting to feel the weight of stability. The comfort they had built began to feel ordinary, like a room she knew too well. The predictable rhythm of their life grew dull, and the fleeting attention of strangers started to feel like a spark in the dark. It began small. She started dressing differently, her outfits a little bolder. The nights she spent out with friends grew longer, and her phone became a fortress, guarded like it held secrets worth dying for. When he would gently ask about her day or who she was with, she would flash a sweet, disarming smile and call him paranoid. When he voiced his concern, a flicker of worry in his eyes, she'd flip it back on him, accusing him of being insecure. He saw it all. He noticed every changed habit, every hollow excuse, every guarded glance, but he said nothing. He watched and he waited. The affair didn't start with a bang, no sudden burst of uncontrollable passion. It began with something far more insidious: validation. Another man laughed at her jokes a little louder. She loved how it made her feel powerful, seen, chosen all over again. In the beginning, guilt was a quiet whisper in the back of her mind, but the intoxicating thrill of this new excitement quickly drowned it out. Back at home, the filter came off. She grew careless. Criticism became her new language. She'd openly compare him to others, subtly at first, then more directly. His unwavering loyalty, once the thing she cherished, was now treated as a given, something guaranteed. Like the sun rising in the morning, she was convinced he would never leave. He was too decent, too attached, too deeply woven into the fabric of their life. He was, in her mind, predictable. But she was wrong. The truth didn't arrive in a storm of shouting and slammed doors. It came quietly, clinically, as confirmation. Text messages, timestamps, and dates. Lies layered so thick they had formed a wall, but now that wall had crumbled, revealing the ugly truth it was built to hide. He felt a surge of white-hot anger, but it didn't explode. It cooled, hardening into something else, something much colder and clearer. Clarity. He didn't confront her that night. Instead, he observed. He listened to her excuses with a new, chilling understanding. He planned. This wasn't about revenge, not in the way most people think of it. Public exposure wasn't about humiliating her for sport. It was about bringing the truth into the light. The stage was set at a family gathering, a barbecue in their own backyard, surrounded by the very friends and family whose opinions she valued so much. It was a place where she believed appearances were still her strongest shield. He calmly thanked everyone for coming, his voice steady. Then he began to speak about trust. He spoke about honesty. And then he spoke about betrayal. And then he revealed everything. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't use a single insult. He just laid out the facts with surgical precision. Messages were quoted verbatim. The lies she had told him were repeated, word for word, echoing in the stunned silence of the garden. He had even prepared a small slideshow that he projected onto a blank wall, the screenshots, the evidence, undeniable and stark. Her practiced smile froze on her face. The confidence that had once seemed so unshakable shattered into a million pieces. The lively gathering fell into a dead, uncomfortable silence. She tried to interrupt, to deny, to spin a new story, but he held up a hand, his gaze unwavering, and he did not allow it. He finished by looking directly at her, his voice devoid of hatred, but filled with a finality that was far more devastating. He said he wished her well, but he no longer wished to share his life with someone who confused loyalty with weakness. And with that, he turned and walked away, leaving the wreckage behind him. The aftermath was brutal for her. Friends, seeing the cold, hard proof, quietly distanced themselves. Family members, who had once adored her, now looked at her with questioning eyes. And the other man? He vanished the second the secret was out. He had signed up for a thrilling affair, not the messy consequences of a life imploding. She began to reach out to her husband again and again. The arrogance was gone, replaced by desperate apologies. The confident smirk was replaced by tears. She begged for privacy, for forgiveness, for just one more chance to fix what she had broken. He gave her none of it. It wasn't because he hated her. It was because he had finally chosen to respect himself. The divorce was clean and quiet. No drama, no public mudslinging. His work was already done. His revenge wasn't her destruction. It was his own elevation. He poured all that pain and energy into himself. He focused on his body, his work, his purpose. The pain sharpened him. The discipline that had always been there now reshaped him. Confidence, the real kind, grew naturally as his self-respect returned. She, meanwhile, unraveled. Regret became her constant companion. Every closed door, every unanswered call, was a stark reminder of what she had thrown away. From a distance, she watched him thrive. She saw him succeed, find peace, and build a new life, a better life. And she realized far too late that she had mistaken the quiet depth of his patience for the shallowness of weakness. Years passed. His name would occasionally come up in conversations she'd overhear, always spoken with admiration. Success followed him. Peace seemed to settle around him like a comfortable coat. Strength defined him. She was left with nothing but memories, a long list of excuses and lessons learned painfully and too late. He never spoke a bad word about her in all those years. He never had to. The truth he had revealed that day had already spoken loud enough for a lifetime. In the end, he didn't destroy her life. He simply removed himself from it. And for her, that absence, that quiet, gaping hole where he used to be, became the one punishment she could never, ever escape.